Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for waiting. I'm Tamara Caulder Richardson, your host of Seeking Heaven, the Near-Death Experience and Other Phenomena. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel as well as consider being a member. We have some awesome membership perks starting from $2.99 up. Everything helps the channel. So thanks for being here. Thanks for your patience. And I am excited about today, the spiritual lesson. I tell you what, I have been working on this and it's changed about 4 different times because I keep getting information from spirit and I keep changing it and keep upgrading it. And they'll say, well, don't forget about this or that. So anyway, wanted to tell you today's lesson is the 8 steps to manifesting and expressing your heart's desire to the world. And let me tell you how this happened. Everything that I do on these spiritual lessons are channeled, and channeling is a whole different thing. We're going to do a segment on channeling another time, and also how to get messages directly from God, your angels, or from Jesus, or from that divine realm, which I'll also help you with that. But for today, how I get these channel messages, I get inspiration, and this one kept evolving, and it came through questions I would ask about people, and I'll tell you as it goes along where I was getting information about this topic. So, I was thinking, what is self-expression? And I don't know if you guys know this, but I went to art school, and I say that term guys, that means anyone that's human. I call everybody guys. But what is self-expression? I went to art school, and I've always been a creative person and an artist, and as well as fine art, crafts. I used to have my own boutique called Glam Lamb, which was, it started out as designer jewelry that I created, and then it went into French Baroque furniture that I would reconstitute old furniture and gild it, make it French Baroque. Yes, I'm a little eccentric, but I learned an amazing skill that I have now that I can use. But I've always been very creative. I'm also a writer and so forth. But we're all an expression. We're all a creative expression of God, right? That's the first thing, because we're human, we're alive, we have breath, we have life running through us. And trust me, if God didn't want us here, we would be gone. So we're here for a reason. So how do we express ourselves to the world? And I really wanted us to think about this. So as I go through this, I want you to take notes. This is going to be an hour. This is not going to be longer than an hour. And so I want you to take the notes. Let me look here in the chat here, guys. Let me say hey first, everyone. Hey, Adriana, let me just take a minute to say hey to everybody. Hey, Ariane, how are you? Candace, good to see you. That's Candace Sanderson. She did an incredible segment. She's got a couple, well, actually 3 segments on my channel. You can see her 2 were interview. One was an interview, one was a live chat, and one I read her live. So Los Angeles, very cool. Nice to meet you. Naples, fantastic. And Laura, great to see you always. You are a real true seeker, and seeker's unicorn. Unicorn is my spirit animal for sure. And okay, California. So Adriana's from California. And of course, I'm recording here from Charlotte, North Carolina. Of course. Oh, Anna, God bless you. I just love you. Anna, pray for Anna. She's recovering from a very well-received, fantastic heart operation. And I suggested her working with the horses, and now she is for horse therapy, which helps regulate your heart. And it's the pictures you're sending me are just absolutely so soulful and beautiful. Maybe we can do a segment on it one day for people that are experiencing heart issues, whether they're born that way or whether they, however they came to be. So no, you're the best. And she's from Mexico. So I feel like I've gotten to know her whole family, between spirit family and meeting her actual family. So look, thank you guys so much for being here. Yeah, I want this to be really soulful for you today. I put a lot of thought in it. So let's talk about self-expression. When you express yourself, you're communicating, right? So this started out as a communications talk. And then my husband, Clay, which some of you know, go, that's really boring. and I was like, okay. But when I see so much, let me just tell you some of the things. Remember, I said it was channeled and I was asking spirit certain things. All right. So I see so many people have really bad communications, and it sounds simple. We're going to go deeper into this. Not that I'm perfect, but I'll explain my communications background. But what I noticed, my observations, and think about yourself. Have you ever had someone where um, that you text message them, but they send you back an email and you're like, well, I didn't see that because you were expecting what? A text message. Or the same thing would be an email. You email someone and then you email an actual email and then they start writing you on like Facebook or some messenger, and you're like, okay, that throws off the communication. So one thing, an understanding would be, people like to be communicated with and to differently. Okay. I tell people, you can email me or text me is the best way, because I'm usually recording, or I am being interviewed myself, or I'm interviewing other people, because I'm constantly looking for people and interviewing them. It's a constant thing that's going on with me. So I can't get, to talk. A lot of people say, let's talk. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm kind of tired. I really don't feel like talking a lot. So it's usually not even personal. So really understanding where that person's coming from. So there's other people that they love talking on the phone. There's some people that like writing back, and you can only get them through email. So be cognizant of that. You can see that a little bit with your work peers and so forth. The other thing is, you need to be flexible. And this isn't really the thing yet. This is just Tamara's pet peeves about communication, because people just need to be aware that people like to be communicated in different ways. And another example would be, there's a nice gentleman that's an NDEr, and we have some mutual friends, and we have not been able to connect yet. He might be watching this. And, I really am excited about getting up with this person, but they said, oh, the only time I can meet is at 9 a.m. Well, I'm doing recordings sometime to 10 or 10:30 and don't eat dinner till 10 or 11 p.m. I know that's not good. So I stay up later because I'm working long hours. So 9 a.m., unless I'm doing shows on the road or something, is usually not my time. So you have to, like, what's good for you? You got to think about time zone. So that's always something important I want to throw out there. So let's talk about my communication. I grew up in a family that my father was in radio and TV, and he was in sales. He was a very high paid salesperson. That's not how he started, though. But he would teach us growing up. So I have a sister who's 8 years younger and a brother who's 14 years younger. So there's three of us. I was the oldest. We were taught, this is how you answer the phone. Hello, Calder's residence. Can I take a message? Oh, thank you. And what is your name? What is your phone number? And can I write down a message, please? And what is the best time to get back with you? This is how we were trained. Like, from the time that if you could talk, we were trained to answer the phone like that, because my father wanted to have a presentation of himself that seemed professional. It's so funny. He had his kids answer the phone like that. It was so cute seeing like a first grader do that, which is why we were all in commercials. I was in commercials, my sister and my brother, we were all in commercials because we could speak well. So, and that's part of, courtesies and so forth. So let's go back to, how do we want to improve our self-communication skills and our self-expression to have better relationships and get the things we want out of life? That's because sometimes these simple, tiny little things can become blocks. And again, we went over some of the communication issues: broken communications, no communications, awkward communications. Like, you text them and they send you a messenger thing. You're like, no, they don't match up. Respond. Try to respond. I mean, I'm not perfect at it either, but try to respond the way they want you to. And then angry communications. How do you deal with angry communications? You see that so much in social media, which is very unfortunate. We should be kind to one another. So I wanted to demystify all of that. So first of all, I want to give you a story. And the first thing about expressing yourself, I wanted to give you an example of my father, Ray. Very few know a whole lot about my family, but he had a real rags to riches story. And I did learn something. He wasn't great in all areas of his life. That'll be in the book. And not a bad thing. I'm very kind, but he was great at this. I mean, he was really good at the business part. And I did learn some things just by observation and watching. So the first lesson is going to be, there's 8 of them. Be fully you and live the life you came here for. Okay. And I'm going to give you examples. And then I want you to write down when things are triggered, when you go, oh, okay, I need to work on this, or you get any kind of epiphany. and so forth. Receptionist. Yes, we were baby receptionists. We definitely were that. So, as an example, my father, he was born from in a place called Rockingham, North Carolina. It's poor, it's poverty there, and he grew up from a shotgun type house. That just means where you come in the front door and you can walk out the back. It's little. You people from the South probably understand what that is. So he came from borderline poor family. Okay, and they did not have very much. And the father was in construction, and come to find out years later, his father was illiterate. He never had any education or anything, which I never knew him that well. I met him a couple times, but he just seemed kind of strange to me, but he was illiterate. So this is someone who really came from not much of anything. And what he did is he eventually moved to Hickory, North Carolina, and he landed a job as a DJ. And then that's kind of where he met my mom, and that whole thing came into play and so forth. Yeah, mill towns have shotgun shacks. You'll see a lot of, poor families that have shotgun houses. Okay, yeah, exactly. So this is when he kind of met my mom. So I saw it take hold from here. I'm going to fast forward the DJ thing. He was a DJ and he did editorial announcements, and I would come and do commercials and so forth. But the thing that my mom liked about him is he was a very stylish dresser. He was the best thing going in Hickory, North Carolina. He had at the time, okay, we're going back, the platform shoes, the curly perms. It reminds me of that movie with, oh gosh, where they're 80s looking, and it's like the disco, and they have Bradley Cooper with the curly perm, kind of that time period. So she loved that about him. He ended up applying for a job in Charlotte, North Carolina. It was about an hour away. And so what he did is he really had, other than being a DJ, he didn't really have a big track record. He didn't have a big education. So he had to, what are his assets that he could work with? So what he did is he got a shot at something. And I think we all kind of want a shot, right? We all want a shot at telling our story, or being in the right place where we can do the thing that makes our heart sing and happy. So he got this job at Big Ways WRQ with Stan as his Kaplan. They're now passed, but they own the station and so forth. Thank you, Laura. That was the movie American Hustle. It's actually very good. And I love the girl with the red hair that's out big like that for that dress. That is the bomb. So, but yeah, that's actually a really good movie. So going back, he got this opportunity. He was making, at the time we had a rental house. They were buying a house in Charlotte, which is on the Providence side of town. Laura, you probably know that. But anyway, he had a very small salary. It was mainly commission. And my mom said he would get up and throw up every morning. He would be so nervous. But what he did was this, and I want you to think about what you're doing, is, he was Rockin' Ray back in his DJ years. Isn't that funny? Rockin' Ray. So what he would do is he would present himself in a way he thought his clients would expect from a top paid salesperson. So he went through, got the suit, got the outfit. He rented a Mercedes. I'm not saying this is back in the day. Okay. I'm just giving examples. And he rented a Mercedes. He had he did, it wasn't just the looks, because you have to have substance. Otherwise it's no good. So what he would do is he had a certain level of communication. He would listen to them, and he would repeat back what they were asking for. He also looked at the marketplace and saw what everybody else was doing, what they were offering, and how he could gain an edge. And one of the things he did, and again, is what is your mission? So now I'm going to stop that story. I'll pick it back up later. Be fully, now we're going to talk about you. So remember that, get that image in your mind. We're going to keep going with it later. So be fully you and live the life you came here for. So what is your mission? If you were fully you and fully aware right now and on point, let's say you might be right now. What is your mission? What would it look like right now if you were there? Then be mindful of what message are you presenting to the world? What is the message? What is the message you're presenting to the world? And your verbal and not, yeah, absolutely. Real estate. This is a very good example. And actually many years later, when the radio business changed, he went into real estate. That's very good. Very intuitive of you, Laura. So yeah, big ways. It was one of the biggest in the world. It was very big. We got to know a lot of celebrities that would come to our house. That's later on. Okay. So going back to this story. We'll hit that. We'll hit all of this later. It'll be entertaining to you. So I want to make sure I hit some of these points. So what are you projecting in the world, verbal and nonverbal? So we always hear about putting your best foot forward. So what would your best foot look like? It wouldn't just be the way you present yourself and take a bath and your personal image. All that matters. You know, you want to look like you have good hygiene and you're well together, but you want to carry yourself with confidence. You know, my mom would always tell my father, hold your shoulders back, you know, walk with pride, hold your head up. You know, very few people, they have terrible posture. That's another thing. So many people, they slouch in the chair. Hold yourself upright. That can mean so much. It used to be back in the day, you'd learn to walk in high heels with a book on your head. Yeah. I was taught how to walk in high heels at 14. My mom, one foot in front of the other, and how to hold and how to balance. Very important things. But guys, too, you need to hold your shoulders back. You don't want to be arrogant, but you do want to have an air of confidence, you know, that you are proud of who you are. So this confidence and clarity of who you are, he had that going on. So you want to own who you are at the highest level, your better self that you want to give back to the world, and really own the life you came here for. And here's the thing, if you believe in you, you know, you see it all the time in a hero movie. Nobody believes in the hero till they become a hero, and then everybody wants to be around the hero. But if you believe in you and what you want, then everybody else will too. That's kind of how it works. Now, the second step is, and this is tough, you just do it. You just decide and you just do it. Okay. So that means so many people that give reasons and excuses why they can't go to their next level, whether if you're an author and you've done certain things, maybe that book, I'm not talking about anyone in particular, but I could be, but that book could be done in lessons, could be online lessons that's offered to people and a continuation of that possibly. But whatever your next step is, only you know that. You just do it. So what you do is you have an inner compass, but it doesn't come from here. It comes from your heart. Now, this is where I believe that our heart is connected to God, the divine, right? And so we get information. Our heart knows before the rest of us knows. So our heart wants what our heart wants. And it's hard to talk our heart out of it. And it's that way with people. And then people go, really, them? Yeah, they're like, that's who you want. I went, yeah, your heart knows what it wants. But it's the same with you and the things that make you happy. You know, you might want to be an herbalist or own a florist shop or, you know, help children that are handicapped. I mean, that's your thing. Everybody's is different. So going back to my dad as the example, he wanted top paying radio clients. So in order to do that, he had to be first what he thought they would, he had to project to them what he thought would be successful. That's what he worked on. Meaning it's not, yeah, it is success because everybody wants to be successful. I mean, definitely don't want to be a failure, but I mean, not that we're working toward that. Doesn't mean that we don't have failures. We all do, but it's a matter of persistence and getting back up. But if you want to be a social worker, you might want some education in that. You might want to spend time with people understanding their needs. You don't want to be too dressed up in that area, right? You want to look approachable. So it's all depending on the market that you're going after and so forth. So with him, one of the things is he took a risk. When you just do it, you take a risk. But what better risk is there to take but you? You know how many times when I own my advertising agency, people don't realize that I have a degree, marketing and visual design and marketing communications. And I own an ad agency 25 plus years. And I have done so much to promote other people that it feels really great to promote me and something I believe in that's passionate. I'm not making like I did then, but I'm happy. And that doesn't mean it won't come along later. You know, I just trust. That's about back to the heart, trusting the universe, trusting you, trusting your heart, trusting what you're getting, trusting the information you're getting. So what you want to do is be without fear with a full conviction of only winning and feeling the reward of joy as it's happening. So you want to start visualizing winning and what would that look like? But there is a risk in this, but there's less of a risk if you do your research, do your market research, find out what's needed and wanted, find out what it needs to be. I mean, if a market already has 20 people exactly a certain way, maybe you can be that non-cola and come in. So that's why we want to look and do a little bit of market research, even in ourselves. So the third would be, oh yeah, so I don't want to forget this. So this is important nuggets here. When you are fearless, it's about your intention. Your intention, as you meaning that you visualize it's already completed. So you have to visualize if you're in a florist shop, selling to the people, making beautiful arrangements, delivering it to the house, having a staff deliver it to the house, them hugging you, writing thank you notes, be as detailed as you can. So visualize what that would be and see it as it's already happened, because we know, you've heard with near-death experiencers, and including myself, there is no time on the other side. There's only segments and moments and now. So is there time travel? Probably yes. Visualize yourself already having achieved that and your desire is already being done. So that would be fearlessness, intention, and single-mindedness. So, and if there's naysayers around you, you really don't need to be around them. I'm going to be honest. So the step 3 would be persist and insist while making friends along the way. Back to the example. So as my dad, Ray, started building up his radio business as a sales rep, he began getting clients. He was excited and terrified. Again, Mom said he would get up in the mornings and throw up because he was so nervous. Have you ever been that way where you are really excited and you're also nervous? Oh, hey, Cheryl. Oh, that is so nice to see you. You look so beautiful. And congratulations on being on Kirsty Salisbury's podcast too. And you're doing great with yours. As Cheryl Gottschall, she's also been on the show who talks about NDEs and UFOs. So she was my first one to start the podcast. So God bless you. Thank you so much. I think about you often. And she is she's from down under. So I believe it's Sydney, right? It's the Sydney. Let me know. Write it in the chat. So nice to have you here. Going back, these are nuggets of things. They're not just words, but I really mean this. This is things that I can say myself and that I've witnessed with other people. And you can also learn not just by doing it yourself, not just by reading books, but observing other people, right? We don't always have to experience and go through everything. So as my dad began to build his business up, he was very excited and nervous. Again, that's a good sign. When you're real excited and terrified at the same time, that means you need to do it usually. So it was a risk still, okay? So he still had to feed his family. He had to buy this house, and this was basically commission. But he also had an opportunity. In the meantime, my mom, she was a housekeeper, but she kept a really nice house. The food was on the table every night hot. She didn't cook fancy, but we had good meals every night. She cooked a few good meals, and that's what we had. And while he worked on that, and he worked long hours and so forth. So he began to get these clients because he always said, do what you say you're going to do, and then do it. What a concept. So many people don't do that. A lot of people don't do what they say they're going to do. And all you have is your word right at the end of the day. And that's how people know you. It's more important for you to have respect in your industry or your trade than really people liking you. Do you really need a lot of friends? Not to be ugly here, but you really need more respect and authority in your area. So that's about at least, not everybody like my dad, Ray, because he was really cocky in a way too. He's like, hey, how's it going? Woo, he drummed it up inside of himself to have happiness and to make this happen. And so because he came from nothing, basically, he really did. I mean, a lot of dirt around his house. And it wasn't fancy at all. It was kind of depressing. So he had to make this happen. And he did that through his intention to succeed. And he did not listen to anyone else. But what happened is he would provide what he said he was going to do. And he offered solutions. He would do the homework and he would offer the solutions. And he began to change from me, what can you do for me, to what can I do for you to be of service. And I think if we all, whatever we're doing, look, what can I do for you? And I noticed that things change when I talk to people and go, here to see how, want to say, hey, and what can I do for you? A lot of times they're shocked because they're just not used to that. But we need to put a little bit more love in the world, and we can still have our passion and our heart's desire along the way. We don't have to be total martyrs and not be happy. And I see that so much with spiritual people. That Brisbane, thank you so much, Cheryl. Thank you. And absolutely. And okay, and then perfect. So everybody's getting to know one another. So this is what we need to look at, is doing what we're saying we're going to do and looking at being of service to others and how can I serve you best. And then all the other things, the flow is just better than what can you give me? That feels weird. You ever talk to someone, you can tell, could be family members, but they want something from you. You can feel it. Like you're like, I want it to be a win-win. And even if it doesn't work out with someone, it's okay, because maybe it wasn't meant to be. So that's okay too. But you want to like be present, and they'll be present. And at the very least say, okay, what do we want out of this, whatever it is, agreement, and work through it. And again, if things don't work out, that's okay. It wasn't meant to be. But you want to respect others, and you want to really listen to them, and you want to try to help them. I help people all the time. I don't get anything out of it a lot of times, but I just figure the universe, that it'll come back in a different way. Maybe not those same people. I don't worry about it. But if we are more like that, the world would be better, especially if we're cognizant of that. But what he started doing along the way, after he started working with clients and providing to them, and then he would have fun with them, he began to have trust, and he started building friendships. And that leads me to, he would say, always under promise and over deliver, give more than is expected. And so let's talk about life being a two-way flow. Remember, we just said, gimme, gimme, gimme. People like that, you can feel it. You're like, yeah, there's nothing you can really give me, so I'm not interested in you. That's horrible, because we're all human beings. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. And I think you're just amazing, Laura. She is totally a truth seeker, and her intuition has gotten a really good, and she has come a long way. So I'm just so impressed. And she's got a beautiful family too. This happened along the way. That was before COVID. But yeah, it's wonderful. I love seeing when people succeed. It makes me so happy to see them winning at life. And that can be, it doesn't have to be a job. It could be getting a family, finding that special person. Is whatever your heart's desire needs at this time. It could be peace and quiet. You need to settle things down. So let's talk about the two-way flow. So when you have like, hey, I'm here, you're here, let's see what's needed and wanted. And you're just kind of there, and you're respectful, and you see the person, and you're engaged, and you don't have any expectations. You can say, well, here's my thing. What are your thoughts? And be willing for them to say, I'm not interested. And you go, okay. Or you can explain things more if necessary, but there is a give and take. That's why so many light workers, they like receiving, right? They like receiving. And we also, they like giving. They're big givers. They give. They're always helping people, helping. I understand that, but I'm even helping people in my dreams. So if somebody visits you that looks like me, but a lot better, my higher self looks better than me. That's probably me helping. But we got to have the other end. We need to receive from other people. So I received a beautiful testimonial from Donna Rebideau and Candace Anderson. And I haven't told you guys, I'm so grateful for that. It was beautiful, a reading I got. And what they did just made me cry. I showed my mom, she cried. So being able to, we got to work together. This is where I'm going with this. We don't live on an island. We are here together. So two-way communications. And it's always about giving love and an actual genuine concern for other people's needs. Doesn't mean it's going to work out. It's a good starting place. So these are winning combinations that both people can acquire, and somehow that they can be enhanced by the exchange of this communication or interaction or project. They can both win by this. So now let's talk about the opposite just for a minute, and then we're going to keep plugging on. So the opposite would be of really good communications. And I just want you to think in your life, and sometimes it's not you, it's other people, it's negative, non-winning communications on either party, Okay. I just want you to look. Hey, it's better to have a mini life review now than later on. You can do that. We can look at things now a lot of people are doing that. So one would be enforce communications. Oh my God, I've done that before in the past. It's horrible. I'm like a real brute sometimes. And on either side. And it comes, it could, I'm not going to do that. You ever seen, I'm not going to do that. Or, um, you have someone that's trying to force you to see it their way. That doesn't work. That's why it cracks me up. You see on these social media platforms, they're arguing about politics or religion. Nobody's going to change. So I don't know why you're going there. All you can do is honor that person. Go, well, okay, from you viewpoint, that's what you feel. Okay, because you're not going to change them. So I don't know why people do that. The other would be, yeah, no one ever wins in that when you're forcing something, because then what's the reaction that people do? They're going to go, they're going to buck up and they're going to say no. Yeah. What to say that I'll get to that in a minute, Laura, about losing the child thing. I'll get there. Okay, I'll just do it real quick. Losing a child, for me as a medium and a spiritual person, they come through all the time. I just did a reading yesterday from a person in Washington State, and a child came through and was very touching for this person. But they're in heaven. They're totally fine. They give evidence, what they look like, blah, blah, all this. And they're fine. Children have a VIP pass straight into heaven. And I'm not trying to make that less, but this is not the real place, guys. This is just lab class. The real place is in heaven. So we're supposed to make this place more like heaven. So this is, we're working on communications right now. Okay. Being nice to one another and just looking at areas of your communication, maybe other people's communication in your life that maybe isn't working so well. So the other would be, we got enforced communications. We've got no communications. You ever had that one where the person, you talk to them and you don't get any feedback? You don't get any feedback. Sometimes men are like that. I love men, but they're not used to, many times, not always, used to expressing their feelings like a woman. And sometimes they don't say anything. They might feel like they're getting in trouble if they say something either way. Maybe that's it. But no communication. Sometimes it's not meant bad. It's not like, oh, I'm not going to answer them. But sometimes people are quiet. It could be different reasons. It doesn't have to be anything bad about that. But no communications where you either A, don't get an answer, or B, you get an incomplete answer like, well, maybe, or they answer half of it. And so a lot of marriages fall in this area because they're not fully communicating everything. And that's even the stuff that's the stuff in your heart. And some of it's not. Sometimes it's difficult when you have to express certain things, and you just have to be kind when you're doing it. But it's really, you need to be honest. The other thing is block communications. Block communications. You better not talk to anyone else about this. This is a secret. Have you ever had someone tell you something and go, blah, blah, blah? No, don't tell anyone. I'm like, well, I didn't agree to that. I mean, why'd you tell me? So no comment. My husband says, no comment. That's really clever. He's very funny and dry. If you just got that, no comment on the no communications. That's very funny. So, so going back here, so we've got the block communications, or I'm not going to go to the party with you unless you do. Someone said they're blocking your or another way is shh, shh, shh. I had it was a guy in a meeting. I used to run this organization, and he did that to me once. The first time I was so shocked. He went, shh, shh, shh. And I was like, and I was looking around like, he was talking to me. And I was like making an announcement. He didn't like what I was saying, I guess. And I was like, yeah, excuse me, I'm not done. I think I was kind of surprised. And he did it another time, like, shh, you don't need to be talking about that. That's something you shouldn't talk about. And I'm not a secretive person. And I'm like, he did that months later. And I went, okay, that's it. Nobody tells me when, how, or where I can communicate. If you do this one more time, we're done. And because you shouldn't have anyone block your communication. So that's a little extreme example, but it could happen. So what it does is it stops people's, you're basically cutting off their power, because when we vocalize, yeah, Lord help them. Don't shush a woman. I mean, that you don't want to see what comes back with that. That's not good. So, you want to be able to not block someone's communication. You want, because it's basically saying, I don't care what you have to say, you're not important, or what you have to say is not important. And that feels really bad. So we want to make sure that that doesn't happen either way. The other is misguided communications, where you get part truth, part untruth mixed in, and confusion and chaos. And you see that, in the media, you see that with politicians. You're like, I don't know which way is up. I don't know. I mean, because there's some truth in there. You just don't know what part of it. And then you've got one-sided communications. This is where someone could talk too much and now not allow someone to interject and communicate. And this you'll see in group settings. Sometimes you'll have one person that will like keep asking the questions or not letting other people share. And the person facilitating has to kind of control that. And there's reasons for that happening. But I just literally, excuse me, thank you so much. We need to move on. I mean, I've done it like that. There's different ways to do it, but they actually do know what they're doing. They do know what they're doing. They just have to kind of be gently called on it. So if that ever does happen to you. Now, getting back to the little story, and then we're going to go to number 5. And that would be, I want to make sure where I'm going to go with this. Okay. So your actions and your words, see, when we speak, then we have intention with it. Well, we actually have passion and purpose from your heart. We have intention, like I'm doing it, one-mindedness, and then it comes out of our mouth, and it's so. So we want to be as true to our own word. Otherwise, we don't believe our own stuff. When we say we're going to do this and that, and our mind starts going, no, it's not. So the lying is really for us. We don't want to do that. I suck at lying. I'll lie like if someone says, does my butt look big in these pants? And I'll go, no. But I just suck at it so bad. I just stay away from that because it's a lot easier just to be true to yourself. So you want to make sure that your words and your actions and your intentions match. So think about that right now. And how are you communicating who you are to other people? Do you hold back? A lot of people hold back, and they hold back for the silliest reason. They're afraid for someone to truly see them. But I truly see people, especially when I do readings, because they allow me to look in their, at their life and their, on a soul path and all that. And I just see beauty in most people, even people that are broken. I see beauty. So that shouldn't stop you from communicating. So, but that's a lot of times people are afraid to fully share. So we just want to make sure they all match up, because that's our power. When we stand in our truth is our power, guys. Can I hear it? Amen. When you stand in your truth and what you know is true, and you know that you know that you know, that is your power. Okay. Now that doesn't mean you should go around, picking fights or anything like this, because that isn't, again, no one wins in that situation, because it should come from a place of love. So that is your power. And blah, blah, blah. Make sure. Versus, so again, being kind to others, that flow of helping people, giving your intentions first, being of a help flow, versus what have you done for me lately? Okay. So step 5, always be grateful in life. Thank others for their time, effort, concern, their business, or believing in you. I mean, when you win people over, but you have to be sincere about this, and it has to feel sincere when it comes out. I remember when I was in my 20s, when I'm in my ad agency, and I was pitching this $68 million insurance company, and I became friends with the guy. Amen. Exactly. And I know you have, because you've told me, and you're very bold. And I love that about you, Laura. You're very bold, and you're a very kind person, but you don't let people run over you. You're very kind and respectful, but you do hold your power and stand your ground in a very respectful way. I like that about you a lot. Yeah. So you great example. So going back to this, so I had this client that I was pitching, and I became friends with the guy. And he said, and I was doing some brochures and different stuff. And that was back when we actually printed a lot of stuff. And I made money from the printing industry. That was great. I enjoyed that, and annual reports. But so I'm pitching this account, and the son who I became friends with, and actually Clay and I went on vacation with them too. We rented this. It's a yacht, but didn't have air conditioning, so it sucked. But it was, I think it was 3 or 4 couples, and we went and we toured all around, the Virgin Islands and all that. It was kind of cool. Stories on that. That was kind of neat. But he said, you're not going to get the business unless you ask my dad for it. And then when he gives it to you, you thank him. And I started thinking, what a simple thing. How simple. And it makes so much sense. Do you do that when someone does something? I had a lady that it was my massage place, and she was so worried and this and that and blessing the house and all this. I was like, oh God. I went and I dropped some holy water and some stuff. I said, here you go, honey. She didn't even say thank you. And I gave her all the stuff for free. All I wanted was thank you. I didn't ask for any money, you know. But it's called, there are things, I don't care where you are in the world, it's common courtesy. Thank you. God bless you. Speak life to people. Thank you so much. I wish you well. God bless you today. Much gratitude. Thank you so much for your kindness. Thank you so much for your prayers. Thank you for your business. So little things we've left out, guys. Also, another winner, I'm going to tell you, if you want to win the day and you're in business, and if you want to build your business up, send somebody a card. Nobody gets cards anymore. They do not, right? Because you don't get them in the mail. So cards make all the difference. If you send someone a card and say a real pretty thank you card, you'll be shocked. Because first of all, you got mail. Nobody sends things through the mail, but that's another way to stand out. So number 5, always be grateful in life. Thank others for their time, their effort, their concern, and believing in you. So you want to make sure you did that. Yeah, Laura just said she sent a thank you card, and it makes you feel good and it makes the other person good. It's simple, but these are things we forget. These are old school, but man, they work. Yeah, around. Yep, they do. They're simple. They're just ways of saying, you know what? It's like that. I sound like a card company, but it's just little ways to say I love you. You're just telling people in a subtle way that you care about them. People, you'd be surprised. I mean, I deal with all sorts of, I always have with my ad agency. I've dealt with very well-known people. And then when Clay was on Capitol Records, we knew a lot of famous people. Another story, another time. And then with this, I meet a lot of speakers and so forth. Met a lot of famous people too. Read famous producers, famous people. Quentin Tarantino's live-in girlfriend, wife, whatever you want to call her. I don't know. A lot of people. And you know what? I find they're all the same. People have the same concerns and worries, just like you do. Seriously. And a lot of people that are in entertainment or Hollywood or whatever, a lot of them, God bless them, a lot of them are messed up, because they're confused. I kind of feel sorry for them in a lot of ways. They're just people, they're just people, and everybody just wants love. They really do. I've heard it all. They think the same way that you do. So, number 6 is help people all along the way, and they will help you later. Okay. So back to my story. So when Ray began helping clients to the best of his ability, and he went out of his way. I will tell you, in this area of his life, he did very well, and he would do whatever's needed. He would deliver things to their house. He would do whatever. They gave him money hand over fist. I mean, back in the day, kind of found out, and he's now passed, God rest his soul. But I mean, I didn't find out till, I didn't know we had money. I was like, if I got $10, I had to give it back. So I never knew we did. Yeah, exactly, Laura, pay it forward. Exactly. But apparently he was making way into the 3 figures back then. And that was, I don't know, early 80s. And that's a lot of money now. What he was making, what I heard, I was like, no way. Wow, I had no idea. I should have kept that $10, or the change on the $10. So, but he would go out of his way to do everything to help that person, and they knew it. They knew that he was an advocate for them. So when someone knows you are a safe terminal, right? You truly care about them, meaning you're an advocate for them. Like, I got it covered, don't worry. Kind of like you have certain people you trust. Those people go from your mediocre list to kind of like your inner circle or your top people you count on. And there ain't a lot of them. Okay. So this is how you can do this. And this is a different level of service and communications. So what happened here is that during this time, he started doing really well. He started going on these ski trips with his clients. They would go to Vail. Yeah, it was 6 figures. He was making big six figures back then. Yeah, Clay, he's talking about it. Yep. And so, but that's not how he started. He was very poor and he was commission only, but they trusted him because he really delivered and he over delivered and he cared about them. And how are your kids? I mean, he was a part of that whole thing, and getting people that are trustworthy is not easy. So they began to trust him. He proved that he was trustworthy, and that's something that you have to prove. You have to prove trust with people, and vice versa. We have to prove our trust with them. Just like people watching this, after a while, they, have it's 103 episodes. They figured that I'm going to be doing this a while. They get to know me. They start trusting me, and then I trust certain people. It's just the way it works. It's okay, but that's how it works. So what happened with the radio business, he became friends with them, and they would travel different places with, their family with, well, it was mainly the couples, their wives, and we're with my mom and dad, and they would travel and do things. And he began to be friendly with them and get to know them as people and so forth. But what happened, long story short, the radio industry changed, big ways in RQ. I don't know if they were sold out. I don't know if you can remember, Clay, if they were sold out. I don't know if Laura, if you remember, but it was something like that. But what they did is he was making so much money. They hired like 3 or 4 people for the price they got him and let him go, which is really dumb. But there was a trend you saw during that time period, people making big money. They just let them go, and they would hire a bunch of young people, then just throw them out there hoping something would stick because they had gumption, but not really a lot of experience. They did that with him. So what happened? He was kind of putting a tailspin. He ended up going to his friends, his clients, and he ended up working at Carolina Waterbed at the time. Then they changed the name and became a furniture company. They said, look, we need someone that can really, sell, people like the whole house, whatever they need. And he said, okay. He knew them and he worked with them in that way. And then when he went into real estate later, he helped them with homes. So he still had that connection even from way back. And I've had connections with my advertising agency, Caulder Design Communications. I still have people that I'm friends with that I care very much so about. I mean, I don't hang out with them, but when I see them, I have a real love for them. My clients in the past, and I mean, I really care about them as people, and I still have. I don't have any broken relationships from that time period. I've kept them all. So, and that says something. It has something to do with integrity, which is another topic, but it does have something to do with integrity. So as we go through and talk about the clients, what eventually happened with that is that as Ray got older and he got sick and so forth, my dad, he was my stepdad. He adopted me, but he was my dad. He got very ill and he got sick. Different things happened. He had lots of health issues. That it was his clients that would come see him. And he even had one of the guys, Jim, we'll just leave it at that. They would come visit him when he was kind of shut in. His caregiver would feed him and he would eat dinner with them. And it was sweet. And that's who talked at his funeral. It was really / life celebration. You know how they have that now, all that's changed. And it was awesome. It was my brother's idea, but they had a red, what was it? A red Mercedes in the front. No, it was a red Porsche, his red Porsche in the front of, as you're driving up to his life celebration, this funeral home. Because he was flashy, and it was like my mom had a gorgeous leopard dress. She looked great, her figure and everything. They had the Porsche in the front, and then then they had all the music he liked listening to, which is like ABBA, rock and roll. It was a different kind of thing, but it was a lot of fun. But he had tons of people there that was clients. I'm trying to say something. What are we building here? Do you just have 1 or 2 people? I mean, what is it that you're doing for people? Do you care about them? Do you contact them? Do you look in on them? Do you expand your world other than just your family? What are you building? Success is not a one-man venture. You have to have friends believe in you and help you. Like I got these beautiful testimonies from Candace and Donna. I mean, I'm forever grateful. It touched my soul. Okay. So we need to help each other. So, and I still owe Candace, I still owe you a book review. And I help people though. I help people and I'm genuine. I'm not perfect, but I try. And that's what I'm saying. We need to help other people. So you help people along the way and something bigger happens. Step 7 is, I loved Larry Sprinkle. Yes, Larry. Oh, no. Yeah, Larry Sprinkles. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Aran. Thank you so much. Larry Sprinkles, a celebrity, he would call our house, Laura, and Clay knows this, and he would say, he'd leave it on the answer machine. Hey, do you have any more of those jelly donuts? And he acted like, he sounded just like Elvis because he did voices. And he talked at my dad's funeral. And it was, his was really good. So, yeah, I mean, we had famous people that were talking there. He used to know Wolfman Jack, if any of you know him. Jay, what was the guy? He had his TV show with Murphy Brown, Jay Thomas. And it was really weird. My mom was set up in a date after they divorced, even though they were always friends and they were always kind of in love with one another. It's weird. But she was set up in a date later on. She's going to meet him in New York. We don't live in New York, but I don't know why it was New York. I don't know if she's visiting. And kind of funny, it was Jay Thomas. She already knew him. She's like, oh, no, we can't do this. Because he was, my dad knew him. He's like, no, it's supposed to be a blind date. How weird is that, right? It was so funny. Yeah, Jay Thomas. I was like, is that weird or what? And my mom told me that story. I was like, you got to be kidding. Out of all the people they're setting you up, I said, yeah, I couldn't do that. She wasn't much into dating anyway. She was still into him. But getting back. So you're building a legacy of who you are, like one of my favorite movies. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. And it is very soulful. I'm going to put it in the thing here. Big Fish. If you got, who's ever seen that movie? Great movie about a man's life. Beautiful, beautiful movie. And this talks about what you're building and what you're manifesting and what you want to express in this life, in this world. It's kind of important, right? So you need to be more cognizant and think about it because you're the captain of your own ship. If you don't like it, you get to turn the helm. You're in charge. If you don't like people around you, fire them as friends. I mean, I don't mean to sound ugly. You still send them love, but fire them as friends. So you're in charge. So number 7, live life with no regrets. You hear me? Live life. Think about if you're having a life review. What would it be that you would regret? And I guarantee you, would you rather take a risk and give it a go, or would you rather have regrets you didn't do something and you just didn't try? I would rather, yes. Yeah, Tim Burton did that movie. It was freaking awesome. Yes. So you want to be an old, can I say old ass person and look back and go, man, these were fun. I did it. I did it. I went for it. Yeah. I mean, look, it's a journey. You fall down, you get back up. It's not a straight freaking line. And then we'll meet people. And then if it's, sometimes your path you want to do this in this area, but your path is not exactly a straight line, but it's a little over here, but then you it's convoluted, but you trust the universe and know, and I thank God every day. Thank you, God, I'm here. Thanks. Thank you for my life. Thanks for lining this up. I really appreciate it. So we got to work together with the divine to also make that happen, but not to have regrets. Be proud, not self-loathing. This comes up in readings all the time. I'm not good enough. I'm not this and that. You know how I know? Because the relatives come through, tell me they've been saying this and that. I said, you've been saying this and that? And they go, yeah, how do you know? Because your grandmother doesn't like it. She loves you very much, your granddad. And you need to stop that. We want to be proud of our accomplishments. And we want to be thankful for those that helped us along the way. We want to be able to communicate to people in life what they meant to you now. Okay? Not when it's too late and you wish you had told them. That's also a regret. I never told them how much I loved them. Why not? Why not? Why not? So they've been friends for years. Why don't you say, man, I love you? Why don't you just say it? You appreciate them. So tell people how much they mean to you. Tell them how much you appreciate them. And because we only have today and we're not promised tomorrow, right? We don't even know. All we know is right now. We don't really, we just need to live in the moment and live in our truest self. So we want to thank people. And also you think about like with Ray's legacy, what he left behind about, all those clients that came when he was sick and it's really kind of sweet if you think about it. It's very sweet. So the last thing is surrender to your greatest good and surrender to God. You could say surrender to God, and just meaning the universe has you covered. I mean, God would not put, this is my thoughts on this, okay, guys? This is my opinion. God would not, or what do you want to call it? Divine source, whatever your word is, would not put it in you to do something. Oh, to go help the handicapped kids. That's not my area. God bless someone who does that. I don't have a lot of patience. Ask Clay. Clay, don't comment on that. But I have patience in a lot of ways, like with readings, I'm very patient, but certain ways I don't have patience. So, see, God knows our strengths and our weaknesses. They wouldn't certain things he would put me in that. I would suck at certain things. Like in a daycare center, no, I mean, I would probably suck. I'd probably become a cusser. I'm not patient that way. But if you put me around a bunch of old people, I mean, they may even acting crazy and dementia. I have patience for that. I don't know why the differences are, but God knows where our strengths are and where, yeah, you need to trust in God. Absolutely. Look, every breath we take is a breath that's given to us. And some of the stuff I'm telling you, I know your grandparents told you this stuff. Somebody wise told you this stuff, but we forget it and we need to be remembered so we can get ourselves back on the path. So we want to surrender. We want to surrender to, also our love. Don't hold back your love to people. Don't hold back. What's the big deal? People love being loved. Are you kidding? You see someone, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate. I really love you. It might shock them, but it'll touch them. Okay. Or just tell people how much they mean to you and be humble in all your situations. So this is just a little bit of today. These are things I think you guys know. I want you to make comments in here if you can real quick in the chat and just tell me one thing that you learned from today. That would be helpful. Just one thing. And it could be a reminder. I'm just reminding you guys what you already know, but we have all, so much technology, social media, life, so many distractions that we need to get back to the place that we were. Okay. We need to get ourselves back to our power and honor ourselves and quit self-loathing. It just doesn't help you. It doesn't help the world. Engage, love others, even people that you disagree with. So who cares? You can still love them. You can still love them. You don't have to hang out with them. Yeah, love is an action. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God. I do have to say thank you, Laura. That's absolutely true. Love is an action. You're so right. Clay said, I would do really well at a Shih Tzu daycare. Oh, if it was a Shih Tzu daycare, I would jump on top like a mosh pit and just have them carry me along. I would just absolutely love that. So this is just today's lesson. If there's anything that you want to have me speak on, oh, Elizabeth, thank you. Love is the base to all humanity. Yeah, and I'm trying to tell us how to get back to that because we've gotten astray. We've gotten all this chaos and confusion. And if you find yourself, I will say one thing my mom told me that was very helpful. Well, that's beautiful, Elizabeth. That's very beautiful. Thank you. And oh, look, to show love and do what you love, live life with no regrets. Thank you. Yeah, but I want you to feel it in here. Okay. Thank you, Iran. Thank you so much for that. And I hope I pronounced it right. I add extra vowels because I'm from the South. But that's beautiful. Absolutely. Oh, thank you. Well, I want you to see how, yeah, the other side is rooting for us. I always say we have a fan club in heaven, and we do. And they came through. I told my husband I had a dream with his family last night. And it wasn't a dream because it went on 2 or 3 hours. They talked to me the whole night. I woke up exhausted and they were all in one room and they were all talking to people that had passed over on my husband's side. And it was amazing. I think it was just to show their support. They see everything that we do. And I love you, Laura, and I love all you here. Laura, you know that. I'm very proud of you and you're a beautiful person. And I appreciate you, always supporting me and Adriana. And then of course, Clay's always there. God bless him. He's like a saint. And then Adriana and Candace, Donna, thank you, Ariana, Elizabeth. There's so many here. If I left out, I'm so very sorry. But I appreciate all of that. And I do this because I really do want to help. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's I don't necessarily, would watch it with anyone, quite honestly. Big Fish. I would watch it yourself because you can really kind of, you reflect your life in it. Like what is your life and your actions? And so, oh, thank you. God bless you. Well, see, this is the way I look at it. It says, genuine. Thank you so much. And beautiful. it's, when people say things, it's just a reflection of yourself. So you're just holding a mirror looking back at you because you're that way, right? Because you can't acknowledge that in people if you don't see it in yourself. That's why people that judge other people are really judging that part of themselves, right? So we don't need to be worried about people so much. And about politicians, honestly, that is not our world. We don't need to be worried about that either. We just need to worry about ourselves and do the one thing we came here for. And that self-expression, we are a self-expression. If we just did nothing but just exist, that is our self-expression to the world, our energy, our light, our love. But we usually do it through something, whether you're a plumber, whether you're whatever you do, but you can still use that kindness in all your relationships. I mean, I do that wherever I go. I was at the Wendy's and I told some guy yesterday, and I believe it 100%. He was very funny. I said, and he started talking to me, and I said, you're funny. You should be doing stand up. And he goes, and he went like this, and I said, don't worry if you fail, just give it a go. I think it'd be a lot of fun. What do you have to lose? And I thought he was going to cry because he said, I'm older. I said, so you're alive, aren't you? You look good. I said, you look fine. What's wrong? Do it. You can talk. You're very funny. You're a natural. So we should follow our passions. That's the last thing, and not feel guilty. A lot of these light workers feel guilty that, you want to help people. Yes, but you need to help yourself. If you can't help yourself, you're not a good role model to other people. You've got to help yourself. And, I think it's a shame when there's people out there that when you do well in life or others, that they're not happy for them. You should be happy when people reach their goals, whether it's a family or getting married or whatever it is, because that's hopeful for you too, that there is love still out there. So I don't want to prolong this. I want you guys to have a great weekend. We're exactly in an hour. We ended off at a terrific time. I do want to tell you, give you a little excitement about what's going to be coming up. I hope you liked our spiritual lesson today, and try to apply these, make some notes for you. This is just really for you. What needs to come out of that. We're going to do another one of these in 2 weeks. Please, you can put it in, I'll do a community thing and ask you guys. You can also email me at info@seekingheaven.com and tell me what you want to hear, what you want lessons on, and what you want, or anything, any kind of special topics. Let me see if I can put it in the chat real quick. Info@seeking, oh Lord, seeking, I got these crazy glasses on. Heaven, info@seekingheaven.com. There you go. And just tell me, and I will listen, and I do listen. I didn't spell that right. I put a comma, but you get the point. So let me know what topics and what you want to hear and what's going on with that. And also, I'm also available for readings. I do life path readings and medium readings, and also do life path coaching. So if you need that, let me know. And you can also look at southernbellemedium.com, or you can write my assistant at southernbellemedium.com, and they'll get back with you. Just as a little teaser, we're going to be having people, very well-known people in the UFO arena, very exciting, fun people. Also, I'm so excited. I cannot stand it. I'm lining up all the way through the holidays. I'm going to have panelists on a whole bunch of Jesus NDErs. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to have that. I'm also going to have, I have mermaid, unicorns, and fairy specialists coming on, and a Bigfoot specialist. I'm going to have so much fun. Yeah, look, there's some serious stuff in here too, and heaven and the other side. But we also want to look at the mysteries of life. But you need to have a childlike spirit. So we're going to have fun along the way here too, right? And you'll be surprised, even looking through these different things, you can still learn from that. So look, have a wonderful weekend. I give everyone my love. I'm sending love to everybody. And one of my favorite songs is All You Need Is Love, because that's truly what it is. So be kind to one another, but more importantly, be kind to yourself. Okay, guys, thank you so much for today, and being here and being supportive and being a part of this chat and all of that. I appreciate you. And look also at the membership. I was supposed to put the ticker here. Join the membership perks. Join the membership. Look, it's the first time I'm using the ticker, so like I know how to do this. So my husband's like, you should have put the ticker up here earlier. So the ticker. Look at the membership perks. Great prices on it. Helps grow the channel. Really appreciate that. If you can take a look at that, that would be awesome. And I will see you next Thursday at 4, which we will have Rob Gentile, who's a near-death experiencer. But again, some of these people, you might have seen them on other channels, but I interview them and actually talk to them. We talk about stuff. So we just don't go over the same thing. So it's never the same thing with me. So hopefully you'll join us then. Have a blessed weekend. And thank you guys so much. And just spread the love, all right? And love yourself. Take care. Bye-bye.